Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh Snipes, and if you're just checking out the channel on this video, look in the top right. I'll leave a card there. You can see all the other operators that I've done so far. Also, if you go check out the rest of my playlists on my channel, I do a ton of other guides, so make sure to check it out. If you like that stuff, subscribe, and make sure to watch all the content that you can, because you and I can both learn from each other. But anyways, How to Play an Operator is a series that I started with How to Play Hibana, and I plan to carry out through all the operators. If there's any differences or any changes or any nerfs or buffs that they come out with, I'll make sure to leave an annotation or comment on that video so that way you guys know and you're not getting misinformation. As for what the series is, it's how you play an operator within a team environment, how you'll play on that team, and sort of the role you fill on that team. Now, these are just subjective to what I've seen on Pro League, Challenge League, Go Fours, and just a lot of other comp play. Also, whether you are solo queuing or running in a 5-stack, all these tips should be able to help you. Now, remember that different regions have different play styles, and that different players have different preferences. So this is what I think overall the operator can be, but there are some differences. Anyways, let's start off with How to Play Thermite. Now, Thermite was first introduced in the game right when the game came out. He's paired in the FBI SWAT, which, as you know, that's where Ash also comes from. Now, these characters are all from the beginning of the game, and Thermite specifically was honestly the only way that you could get into a reinforced wall, which is crazy to think about now because now we have Hibana and Maverick, but way back then, we really didn't have anything that we could deal with the reinforced walls. So, speaking about Thermite though and his charge, it's one of the things that makes him who he is. And basically what separates him from the other two hard breachers that we really have is the fact that when you put a Thermite charge on a reinforced wall and you blow it, it leaves a ginormous hole in the wall. Now, this is very interesting and very necessary, especially when you're trying to take certain sites, especially say garages or any sort of double or triple walls, because you can get in between both panels and blow open this giant hole rather than having to deal with a single panel at a time, like you might have to deal with a Hibana or a Maverick. Now, obviously, his role on the team is you are literally the most support on the team. Now, you'll usually have a Thatcher or Maverick helping you out trying to get these walls open. We'll demonstrate some of that later, but basically you're going to be the person whose job is to not die and pretty much drone your teammates in, and you're going to support the rest of your team by getting the wall open. Once you do your job, that's where Thermite turns into fragmite, and you can go try to get kills all you want because you've done everything that you possibly need to do. Now, just to touch on it a little bit, if you are standing next to a wall that is getting opened, say 3 to 4 meters or anything closer, and you're next to a Thermite charge going off, you better move away because it will kill you. It's not like a breaching charge that kind of does some damage. It will end up killing you. But if you move beyond about 5 or so meters, you'll be in the clear. Now, if you don't already know, there are actually a couple counters to Thermite charges. And more specifically, it depends where you place them and how you place them and a bunch of other things that go into this. But basically, the first one is that you can actually impact trick it. Now, impact tricking is more of an advanced technique where basically if there's a hole above a reinforced wall, the defender will throw an impact nade and pretty much nullify that Thermite charge. Now, I have a whole video on a bunch of different impact trick spots. If you want to go check that out, I'll leave a link in the description down below. But the next counter that you have is Cade. Now, Cade, if you EMP the wall, he can't pretty much Cade trick it. He can't throw another Cade on it right away. The Thermite goes off before the Cade is activated, and that is honestly where Hibana sort of lacks in terms of using Hibana versus Thermite. The Hibana charge will get Caded, but the Thermite charge will not, as long as you EMP the Cade beforehand. Obviously, like a bandit, it'll get shocked if you try to put any sort of gadgets on the wall. Now, moving on to the last counter is actually bandit, and this is where bandit tricking pretty much became a thing. It wasn't really intended, but they left it in because it became one of the most necessary ways to really hold down a site, especially against a Thermite who could open up the entire site because of the wall getting open. It makes such a big hole. But that's pretty much going to be it for the hard counters. The only soft counter is really mute, but mute doesn't destroy the Thermite charge at all. It just disables it, and if you pick it up off the wall, you can put it down somewhere else and it'll be just fine. So just EMP out the mutes. A lot of times nowadays, especially, mute's not getting used nearly as much to try to hold down walls. It's more getting used to hold down flanks, so you don't even need to worry about it that much. Now, moving on to the loadout, you have two primaries that you can choose from, and I can already tell you there's only one that you really will always choose. Now, you have the M1014 shotgun, which is a semi-automatic shotgun. It's a really good for spamming, but the problem is you don't have a very good secondary to really kind of back that up. Like, you don't have an SMG or a machine pistol or anything like that to really back that up. But the second primary that you will probably most, like 99% of the time you'll go with, is the 5.56 XI, and basically that is a great assault rifle on Thermite. Its gun is pretty great. You don't really need to worry about recoil that much, especially if you set it up with a vertical grip. That's what I do, and I haven't had any sort of problems on my loadout. Now, for the secondaries, you have an M45, which is basically a 1911, or you have a 5.7 USG. It honestly comes down to preference. For me, I usually will run the M45 just because it does more damage, but the 5.7 doesn't have that much recoil, and when you spam it, it doesn't go, it's pretty much just stays level, so it's a lot easier, and plus the sights are a lot better on the 5.7 than on the 1911. Lastly, you have two gadgets that you can choose from. You can choose stun grenades, or you can choose a claymore. 90% of the time, since you're playing that hard breaching / support role, you're usually going to take the claymore, just so that way you don't have to worry about anyone running out on you, especially while you're trying to put the thermite charge on the wall. Now, heading on over to the tips and tricks, you're going to actually see me try to explain exactly what you're looking at right now. Now, this is from a Pro League match, and basically what they're doing is you see Foxay using that Maverick. Basically what he's going to do is he's going to open the bottom of that reinforcement looking for the bandit barbed wire, and normally you'd have the thermite hang upside down where you see that red arrow and place this thermite charge on it. Once you get rid of the bandit barbed wire, it's very safe, and that's the whole reason that you do it upside down. Unfortunately, it was K-Tricks, so they weren't going to sit there and try to find it, so the Maverick does end up opening it by himself, which is a Maverick trick, not a thermite trick. But I figured that was just something interesting to point out, because you do see that a lot in Pro League, and especially just comp in general. Now, as for the next trick that we're going to see with thermite, it's pretty much going to be how you are going to get rid of a hatch that's reinforced, and say maybe there's a Cade or a bandit on it and you don't know how to deal with that. You can actually, as long as there's a soft floor next to that wooden floor, you can actually put a thermite charge next to it and open up the hatch without ever having to EMP it or use a Maverick to get the Cade off or anything like that. So this is a great, useful way, quick way to get things off of a hatch. Now, the next trick that I want to show you guys is kind of an interesting one. I don't know how intentional this really was, because this same effect ends up working out on everything. And basically, when you open a thermite charge, when you blow up a thermite charge, it kind of damages anything within a couple meters of it, and that means that it'll also damage walls. So you're going to see in one of the tricks I'm going to place it on the floor, and in this trick, we're placing it on a wall next to what is usually a reinforced wall. So normally you want to come up to this like so, place your thermite charge down, and basically that's going to be it. It's going to be that simple, and you're going to blow it. So say this wall on the other side in the office, which you'll see me rotate onto, say if that is maybe bandit tricked or has a Cade on it or something like that, or maybe even a mute, you can just put the thermite charge on like that and it'll actually open it. Now, in this video, it doesn't open it because it's a soft wall, and normally soft walls have two sets of walls, but when you have a reinforced wall, see how it blows that first panel off the wooden wall? It'll actually blow the reinforcement off the wall also, so you don't need to worry about it. That's basically what you'll end up with at the end of it. Now, normally when you come on to Oregon, this hatch that you see in front of me, that's normally reinforced. And I have two tips on Oregon that can be used across the board if you can find other spots where this might work out. But I'm just going to demonstrate here on Oregon because that's the easiest map where I can find both at the same time. Now, this hatch that is usually reinforced, but there's a soft wall, usually a soft wall. Even if it's a reinforced wall, you can still do it. But basically, this is going to be reinforced, and you want to go on the other side of the wall. If it's muted, it's Cade, or anything like that, you can put the thermite charge down and actually blow open both the wall and the hatch. Normally, you want to open up the wall anyways to look down the hatch, so this ends up working in a 2-for-1 combo. And you can do this on pretty much any of the walls that are pretty close to this hatch. I'm pretty sure even the one that's to the left of me right there, you can do it on. But heading on upstairs, though, this is going to demonstrate you can put a thermite charge on the floor and pretty much open up the foot level of the wall. And this is great for getting bandits off the wall, especially if you don't have a Thatcher or a Maverick to be able to get him off, or say if they die you don't have really chance and you have 2 thermite charges. This is a great way to do it. Now, you do have to be wary though, because if you do this, I mean, you're setting yourself up to not really be able to put the thermite charge on again. So you just have to be wary of what is on the other side of the wall from you. But this is pretty much what it's going to look like once you open it on up. Now, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. I didn't realize how many thermite tricks I actually knew off the top of my head and don't really use all that much, but I should start using even more because I feel like if I have to explain this to you guys, who am I to not use these? But I hope you really enjoyed this video. Let me know who you want to see next in the operator list. Make sure to check out the playlist to keep watching. I have a bunch of these operator guides that I keep on trying to make. They do take a little bit of time, so that's why I don't pump them out every single week. But I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope that I can see you in the next video. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap things up for today, and this is going to be Josh Snipes signing off.
Okay, so I can watch it. He's on top of the table. He dropped.
15 seconds left.
Swinging wide, I think.
4 remaining.
Oh, that was in the bathroom, I believe, last.
5 seconds.
Yo!
Nice, dude.
The throw! What?
Eliminated. Friendly
What was he
mission
doing?
Let's
Josh.
go!
Dang, you're wild.
Josh.
Dang, you're wild.